Jaguar's E PACE gives buyers another very interesting option in the growing segment for premium badged compact SUVs. It's a crucial car for the company, but is it the right one? There's a lot riding on this little crossover.
So what might the Jaguar of premium compact SUVs be like? Well, you might wonder. After all, an eclectic combination of ingredients have been used in creating this E PACE model. Most of its underpinnings are derived from smaller Land Rovers, which means the need for a steel platform rather than the lighter aluminium structure that's used in the brand's larger F PACE SUV. The 2-litre Ingenium engines all come from the Evoque and the Discovery Sport 2. The base D150 and D180 diesel variants come with manual or auto gearbox options. The D150 can be had with front-wheel drive, but otherwise all E PACEs have 4-driven wheels. A typical D180 all-wheel drive auto variant manages 50.4 mpg on the combined cycle and 147 grams per kilometre of CO2. That's an unspectacular showing by class standards, and it's clearly affected by this Jaguar's quite hefty 1.8 tonne curb weight. Now, we reference the Evoque-derived 9-speed auto gearbox. Get beyond the 2 base diesel variants and you'll find that that's mandatory. There are 3 further engines to consider: a mainstream petrol option, the P250, and then 2 performance models. And they get a more sophisticated active driveline 4-wheel drive system with an active rear axle, which can vary torque between the rear wheels at speed through the corners. The top D240 diesel variant's worth a look, but here we're trying the flagship P300 petrol model, and that uses the sweetest of the engines on offer in Jaguar's F-Type sports car. Whatever power plant you prefer, Jaguar's optional adaptive dynamics variable damping system is well worth paying extra for. Without it, there's no way of influencing the rather over-firm ride. This works through the various settings of the Jaguar Drive Control driving mode system, and that allows you to tweak the steering response, the throttle feel and the gear shift timings. The steering is impressively feelsome, and highway refinement is class-leading too. Inevitably, off-road prowess isn't up to Land Rover standards, but there's decent ground clearance, and all 4-wheel drive models can tow up to 1.8 tonnes. Whereas rival brands merely shrink larger models to create more compact SUVs, Jaguar has opted to create something quite different with the E PACE. Now this, according to the Coventry company, is the sports car of its class. It certainly has much more of a purposeful look than most of its rivals, and that's thanks to what the designers claim is inspiration borrowed from the F-Type sports car. That isn't particularly evident at first glance, but if you know that car and then you look a little closer at this one, you'll begin to pick up F-Type cues in the headlights, in the muscular rear haunches and in the teardrop graphic of the rear side windows. Let's take a seat up front. Now, if you didn't pick up the visual F-Type sports car references outside, you may more readily notice those once you're seated in the so-called Sports Command driving position. Now, as in the F-Pace, Jaguar has provided the slightly raised seating stance that SUV buyers like, while still allowing you to feel an involved component to the driving experience. The 3-spoke steering wheel is F-Type derived too, as are the analogue instrument binnacle dials that most models provide beyond that. Now, we haven't got those here because this particular model is one of those that's been fitted out with a 12.3-inch virtual instrument display that we first saw on Jaguar's XJ Saloon. Anything the instrument binnacle area can't tell you will, of course, be covered off by the centre dash screen. E PACE buyers get as standard the larger 10-inch Touch Pro monitor that F-Pace customers have to pay extra for. This monitor is your access point not only to the expected audio, climate, telephone and navigation functions, but also to in-car Wi-Fi and a whole suite of in-control connected car technologies. That includes an in-control apps feature, and that'll allow you to select from a whole series of downloadable, compatible applications. Right, time to take a seat in the rear. Now, this swept-back roof line suggests that headroom back here might be of something of a premium. But in the event, rear seat headroom's actually quite good, even if your E PACE features the optional panoramic glass roof that we've got here. Now, that lets in some much needed light, as do these neat little rear C-pillar mini windows. Now let's have a look at the boot, and that's accessed on plusher models via this powered tailgate. This can be specified to rise with a wave of your foot beneath the bumper if you approach the car key in pocket, laden down with bags. Now the hatch rises to reveal one of the largest luggage compartments in the compact SUV segment, offering a 577 litre capacity, and that can easily swallow a folded buggy, a full set of golf clubs sideways, or 6 flight suitcases. Under the floor there's a further 93 litre compartment, although you only get that if, rather unwisely, you've chosen not to pay extra for a space-saver spare wheel. The E PACE is one of the most significant cars that Jaguar's ever made. The first to be manufactured outside the UK, the first to attack the volume part of the SUV market, and the car that will push the brand's global annual sales beyond the 250,000 mark for the first time. It's attracted a whole new generation of customers to the company's showrooms, and we can see why, combining as it does dynamic Jaguar body language with the fashionable practicality of a compact SUV. Now, the brand says that this car energises its segment. Well, we wouldn't disagree with that. Yes, if you judge as a Jaguar, there are questions to ask here. If, though, you analyse this model's merits as a compact SUV, you'll find there's lots to like.